Hello, everybody. We're gonna go ahead and get started on the demo, or the starter demo of your assignment, and we're going to complete the CourseGrades assignment. Well, I mean, we're gonna get started on the CourseGrades. You guys are gonna have to finish that one off on your own, but the one that we're gonna be getting into, let's see, yeah. Complete the CourseGrades assignment, and we will begin that right now. One thing that you do for this is we already have the some of the code developed, and that is essentially your core the what's called the graded activity for that assignment. So if you go up here to your files, your program files for the 6th edition book, you'll find the file that I'm going to be using in here, which is the grading activity object that we're going to be implementing as part of this assignment. You'll find it in chapter 9. And it'll be graded activity. So we're going to grab that guy right there. And I'm just going to go ahead and throw that on my desktop for now, because I haven't even set up a project for this yet. That's going to be the first thing we're going to do. Is we're going to go through the setup of the project and get everything kind of in and compiling and working, and then we'll go in and I'll get you set up to finish up. To finish everything up for your next steps. Okay, so let's go ahead and create the project. And we've got the source file we need. We're going to create the project, and I'm going to go ahead and let's throw it on the desktop, call it grades, something simple. We will be using some code from our last little video just as a placeholder. We're going to use Ant framework, Java application. Next, let's call it something else. Let's call it grades. Grades is fine. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. The first thing that we're going to need to do for this application is we're going to go ahead and add a package to this that's going to be our grade object, and we're also going to need to bring in that one file that we're going to use into the project so that we can access it. So I'm going to go ahead and minimize this, and we're going to go look at the folders that were created. And we'll go from there. So here's the grades folder, and there is the folder with my source code in it. So I'm going to find where my Java file's at, and I'm going to put that file that we're going to be using inside of my project source. You could do this through NetBeans too, like add existing, but I like to keep things kind of together there, so we'll do that. And we can even actually just create a new Java file here, and we can call this one, and we'll add it as a source into NetBeans. We'll call this one, let's see, CourseGrades. Okay, CourseGrades. Let's just call it CourseGrade. That would be better. And then let's just name it with .java. Okay. And now you need to make sure that you're viewing extensions, or you can't do this. So you need to go up here and view and show file name extensions right here. You need to make sure that's set up. So now we can do it this way instead of we can add it now to the project. There's a few things we're going to want to edit with this. This is our built Java file. This is the Java file we're going to create as part of the assignment. This is the Java file graded activity that comes as an object that we're going to implement within the assignment. We're actually going to be implementing an array, and this is going to be composition. We're going to be using composition, not inheritance in this. I believe composition, yeah. I'm pretty sure it's asking for an array of graded activities inside of our course grade object. And that is composition, which is the has a versus the is a. In the other video, we looked at the is a relationships. Now we're looking at has a relationships. Okay, so let's bring this all together into the project. So as we can see, we have these guys here. And for the graded activity, let's go ahead and make that a package. Let's see, how am I doing packages? I'm doing packages lowercase, okay. All right, now we're going to be able to, oh yeah, stupid NetBeans, move it to the correct folder, fine. Oh, I need to do semicolon. Okay, so that is what we need to be able to include graded activity. So we're going to go ahead and from our Java, we're going to go ahead and import graded. We don't need to import it here because we're going to be using the graded activity in our course grade. So let's just go ahead and start knocking this object out. And again, I'm not going to finish it. I'm just going to get some of the main components of it. And of course, we don't really need to redo a lot of it as far as, most of what we need, we've already kind of built with our employee class. And we could just go in and just make some changes. So I'm just going to grab the employee class, and we're going to put, I'm going to get to the point where we're implementing the array. But I want you guys to, you're going to need to finish up the setters for this and all the getters. I'm going to give you a good start, but you're going to complete the actual class of the course grades, but we'll get you to where you can kind of see how it all comes together. All right, so I'm going to copy this employee class, and I'm going to go over here to the course grade Java class that we're going to be dealing with, and I'm going to make this a package for course grade. Okay. Alright, that's fine. And now this is going to be you know what, let's do this. Let's call this package course grades. No, it's course grade. That's fine. Yeah, whatever. I'm just wondering, I'm hoping that the naming, you know what, let's call this class course grade so that we're not messing up with things. Yeah, we'll do it like that. Public class, course grade, and let's zoom in on this for you guys because we're going to change in a few things. So course grade, it's going to have it looks like it's got a lab activity, all kinds of different things that we've got to add to it. And one thing that we have to do is an array of graded activity. So it needs an array of graded activity objects as a field. So it's going to have an array of grades. You know what? Let's keep this name just as a for the name of the student, and we'll keep everything else kind of in here and add as needed. But what I'm looking for is for us just to get a course grade instantiated with it being able to have an array of graded activity objects in it. And then then we're going to kind of add to that array. So a lot of this stuff we won't need, and you're going to be adding your own stuff. Okay, so we're going to get the default constructor in. The overloaded constructor in, which we just did above. Okay. And now we've just taken that employee class and converted it into our first CourseGrade class that only has a name in it. It's got our constructors and our overload for our toString. So it's kind of where you're going to want to just kind of generically start every object is with these components. It looks like okay. It looks like I had a little problem there. I had to rename it to CourseGrade.java because it didn't look like the name. Okay. Now let's go into the next bit. Looks like we got our package CourseGrade with a CourseGrade.java. We have our GradedActivity class that we're going to be using as an array in our CourseGrade. So that means that we need to set up an array of these CourseGrade or activity things. But let's do this first. I want to test this. I want to do this. I want to do an import. I want to import the graded activity. I'm going to use the name of the package and the name of the object. Oh, yeah. It's not used yet, but we're going to use it. Okay, now we're going to go over here and we're going to have an array of CourseGrades that we're going to implement. And then we're going to test our CourseGrade object. Before we add our array, we have us importing the graded activity. We have the graded activity in our project. Let's just go ahead and test this without a list. We're going to add the list coming up here shortly, but we're going to test it with just one instantiation of a graded activity, just to make sure that we are actually seeing our everything, and whatnot. Okay, so you know what? Java should have been able to. They should be able to do that. New graded. You know what? Let's just leave it uninstantiated for now. Maybe we'll instantiate it up here. I'm just thinking of where I want to instantiate it. Usually you want to just declare it, and then you want to instantiate the actual object in the constructors. You don't really want to instantiate up here because this is not really considered runtime code. This is just definition code. So usually the proper way is to do it here, and we would say AC is equal to new. Let's see, what CourseGrade, and then we would put in for the constructor the name. Oh, that we're not doing CourseGrade. Okay. Yeah. Well, maybe it's a little bit. We're doing graded activity here. Let's look at this. Graded activity is what we actually want, not CourseGrade. I'm being silly. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to have an instantiation of graded activity in here. Let's do that. Okay. Okay, like so. And if I look at graded activity, graded activity doesn't even really have a constructor. Well, that's kind of stupid. Okay, well that means then that we take out the parentheses. Should have to. Most languages are that way. Oh, maybe not. Okay. It calls the default behind the scenes constructor. Okay, that's fine. All right. Let's go ahead and let's work on getting something running. Let's look at our build. And we're going to look at some of the errors that we may have. I believe, for some reason, our graded activity... Oh, semicolon, guys. Yeah, typical. Okay. Does that free up the last of our errors? Yes, it does. Okay, so all I'm looking for is the fact that I can instantiate CourseGrade now. That's all I care about with graded activity inside of it. So just trying to bring all this together so that we can start using it. So now I get the graded activity, and this is going to be an array eventually. Now that I've got it in here, I'm going to go ahead and implement the array. But let's go back to our main, and let's instantiate and make sure that everything's kind of working right. So we've got a graded activity in our CourseGrade object. So let's just create our CourseGrade object and test it. Okay, I'm probably got some typos here. Oh, well, duh. I need to import CourseGrade, don't I? Okay. Course. The package is _grade. There we go. And with a semicolon. All right, we have that imported now. Now we're going to look at instantiation. And let's go back to the CourseGrade object. It's all one word when we declare it. We are declaring it all one word. Why is it not like me now? Let's look at kind of... Oh, okay, it does like me. All right, so what we can do then is we can do a print of A grade to make sure that we're kind of doing all right. And it'll do our overload of our string. Why don't you like me? No. CourseGrade doesn't have an overload of toString. I thought I did. Yeah, it does. It just doesn't like the print one that I'm doing. Okay. I need to do the different print. Oh, duh, that's right. System dot out dot print object. That's what I'm looking for. There it is. Okay, we're on track now. Let's see here. Now, do we have everything working together and we can actually start doing this assignment? Yes, we do. Okay. So let's review real quick before we take a little break and get into implementing the array, the composed array, and then I will let you continue on and finish this up on your own. So reviewing, we created a project. We added an object called CourseGrade, and in that CourseGrade object, we included the graded activity object provided by your book, and you can get that in your book files. That we added to the object itself with the graded activity. adding the package to it. So now that I can actually access this and include it for composition inside of the course grade object, which is composed of a graded activity. And then, of course, that becomes a package, and I include the course grade component that contains the graded activity in main to test it. All right, next steps. We are going to implement the array of graded activities. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to demonstrate printing of that array, filling it with information and printing it. And then you guys can finish up all the accessors, the getters and setters and whatnot of the rest of the assignment. So this is an example of composition versus our inheritance example, which was from our first set of videos. All right, I will be back. Okay, we're back. We're going to go ahead and resume our course grades assignment. What we need to do is implement the activity array, and we're gonna implement a graded activity array. As you see, I've already got graded activities available and working in our course grade object. What we're going to do is we're going to convert this into an array of graded activities. And to do that, we're going to use an array called, now I'm going to use the Google here. There's a couple different ways of doing it. And the way that we're going to do it is probably something more like that. That looks more appropriate. Okay, so, well, actually it's the same thing as that. But yeah, that's normal C-based way of doing an array. So let's go ahead and implement that. So what we're going to do is I'm going to want a private graded activity, and this is where we put in and indicate that it's an array. And then we give it our name. Let's say here, this is supposed to be called grades from your assignment, I believe is what we'll call this array. It's called, is it called grades? Grades, yeah. It's called grades. And we want 4 of those. Okay. Oh, and I'm probably not doing the code right. So let's look at our example. Oh yeah, new, yeah, okay. Equals new. Oh, grades, give it equals new. Okay. Equals new. Graded activity. Okay, that's our graded activity array. And that's what we're going to be using. And we don't need to instantiate it down here anymore. You know, most of the languages made it. You used to not be able to do that, but I think Java was the first one that made it where you can do that, where you can actually use new in the definition portion of the code. You used to have to actually do new of all your in the constructor, because they didn't add that to the compilers until later. So that should work out just fine. So now we get into what we call our setters. Now the setters are what they're going to do is they're going to be setting this array, and there's going to be 4 of them for setting your lab, your essay, your pass-fail exam, your final exam. Because basically we're just counting up 4 scores in here. That's all we're dealing with is 4 scores. If we look at our graded activity just holds a double called score. So it's just 4 scores. That's all we're dealing with, and this is the quintessential composition. CourseGrades have 4 graded activities. So we're implementing composition here. So what we're going to do is we're going to set the score for labs, and then you guys can do the pass-fail, set a essay. You know what? I may end up doing 2 of them just so that you guys get the idea. So let's go ahead and get to this one where I'm going to set, let's get rid of name. We don't need name anymore. And let's take it out of this guy here, right here, so that when we do a return or toString, we're going to be printing the lab, because I'm going to do a set lab function here. So let's go ahead and do this. Public set lab. And this is going to take a double. It can be a float. Score. And this is where we go to our array, and we're going to say that the 0 position is for labs. I believe your book even, yeah, element 0 is for labs. So all we got to do is really kind of stupid. It's really simple. All we got to do is we got to go to the grades array of element 0. Okay, now that grade array has a set score function. So that set score function is in the graded activity that we're using, that, and here's the set score function. So we're going to go ahead and call that for the set lab. So it's going to set score, and then we're just going to pass in score. That's it. Now, as I'm building up this toString, what I want to do is I want to go ahead and return lab score, and then I'm going to do this plus we're going to go to grades of 0, and they should have built a getter for us in there, dot get score. Very simple. Okay, so that's for the lab. Why do you not like me? No. I don't want to do that. Why are you being a turd? There might be something I'm missing, but that's fine. It could be, you know what? Let's just... probably something simple. That I'm just not seeing. Yeah. Okay, guys, I'm gonna have to come back and figure out what's going on with this little function I'm dealing with. Oh, duh, it's right here. Never mind. Name. I didn't take that out. That's one of them. Okay. And oh, here's the last one. There we go. And then we want double score. Any more little issues that we got? We don't want to do that. Oh, and there it is. There, I got 2 of those little errors. Yeah, so note to self. When changing things, make sure you finish all the changes. Okay, let's see. There probably is some more issues here. Because, duh, it's yelling at me. But let's see what happens. Let's do a save all. And I'm wondering why I'm having an issue over a simple function. It's probably that. All right. I will be right back, and I'll describe the issue. Thank you. Okay, well, evidently I was writing Python in my head, and I forgot to put the void here for our set lab. That's okay. You know, it's a setter, so it's not going to return anything. So that's our set lab, and what it's going to do is we're going to send it a score, and it's going to just change the first element's score, which is going to represent our lab. So element 0 is going to be our lab. Lab is 0, and the next element is going to be pass-fail exam. So the next one is the exam. Okay, so I'm going to go over here and I'm just going to do something real simple. And it's going to be called set exam. And guys, this is stupid simple. Okay, so I'm going to just go to 1 here. All right, now I'm going to add that into my toString. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to say plus. Oops. I'm going to put a little space in there. And I'm going to throw in exam score. And I'm going to throw in the plus here. And we're going to output grades of 1 dot get score. All right. I think we're ready to test. You guys are going to have 2 others that you need to add. I think we are ready to test. All right, well then let's actually use it. Let's go over here to our graded activity. Nope, not our grade, our course grade. We have the ability now to implement our course grade, and we can set the exam, set the lab, and then we can print it. So let's go ahead, go back over to here. We're already printing it. So what we're going to do here is we're going to say, okay, set lab to 50. Dot set exam to 50. Okay, now here's where I'm kind of wondering is when we print, and we go over here to this print, the set score, when it says score is equal to S, we should be doing, okay, so the get grade function will return the letter grade. Okay, that's fine. So we might want to actually call that too, to get the grade. So we probably might want to do that in the print function. So let's go ahead and go to the the course grade component, because the get score is just going to return there, but maybe we should call, instead of get score, let's call get grade, because it's going to call everything it needs from there, and that's what we're really wanting, is instead of the score, we want to get the grade. Because that's what that whole object is doing for us, is calculating our grade. Okay, let's test it. And then we can have our happy dance if it works. And then you guys can watch the polymorphism video that I'm going to be having up soon. Or should already be there. Now let's go back to here. We print, and when we print, what is printed is the toString happening, and the toString calls the composed graded activity array in the appropriate elements and asking it to get the score. These do the setting. So do we call the sets? Yep, set, print. Happy dance? No happy dance. Oh no, what happened? Something happened. Okay, let's look at kind of what's going on. Something going on here. Oh, it looks like... Oh, okay. That makes... Oh, yeah. Of course I messed that up. Yeah, okay. So this just sets up the array of 4. It doesn't actually set up the ones that are... It doesn't actually instantiate the 4. It only instantiates the array part of it. The array part of it is in the object that holds the 4 elements. But you need to go in and instantiate the 4 elements on your own. And that's pretty much a normal C-based thing that you got to do. So what we can do is we could just hard code it, and we can do grades of a 0. But let's just go ahead and do a for loop so we don't have to write so much code. And we got to do it in both constructors. And we're just going to do a quick for loop that's going to instantiate our grades array. That's what's wrong. Okay, so we got to do that 4 times for each of them before we can actually use them. Now, very important distinction that I wasn't all the way there with just yet. For arrays, for object-based arrays, you first instantiate the amount for the array. And I can show you how dynamic arrays work, guys, and how it all lays out with all the pointers. And double pointers and pointers to pointers, but Java is all about keeping that stuff away from you. So you instantiate the initial. It's called a double pointer, but it's an array. It's an array or a pointer that points to the array, and then each element in the array itself has to be instantiated. So you have to instantiate the master pointer to 4 items, and then each of those items inside has to be instantiated. Okay, I'm thinking this might be the problem. I'm pretty sure it is. So let's go ahead and roll with it. And yes, we are good. We have an F for an exam score and a lab score F for both of them. So we have our happy dance. Okay, well, guys, don't forget that. That's very important. You got to do it in both constructors because only one constructor or the other is going to run. This one, it looks like is toast. We're no longer passing names, so we can just get rid of it. So we just have the one default constructor. Okay, happy dance. You guys are ready to finish it up and play with it. Make sure that you meet all the things that your book tells you to do. You must do. So make sure you complete it because you're not done from here. You've got to start, and you're able to work with it, but you're not done. It looks like when I took out that constructor, I messed up my instantiation. Let's go ahead and fix that little bit right here. So we're just going to run the default constructor. We don't need the name anymore. There we go. It's working fine. Okay, so just that one constructor is all you need in the course grade. The default one right here. Okay. Did I say happy dance? It's working. We're good to go. Finish everything that your book says to finish. Thank you, guys. Bye.